Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 5, titled Mean, Green, and Straight Poured Into These Jeans. Now, I've only put in the thumbnail Episode 5 because that title is long as shit and fucking goes off my thumbnail kind of thing, so that's why. So, the lengthening of titles of episodes has gotten nuts because also the lengthening of the titles of shows have gone nuts, and here we are. However, the title actually is part of the profile she had on the match thing, which comes into somewhat relevance for this because we left off with Titania pretty much going after her for trademark infringement because she trademarked She-Hulk first, and that's pretty much the entirety of this 30-minute episode. Now, granted, there is a B storyline where we're like, hey, She-Hulk's gonna get her suit. And it's weird for me because I would normally probably say that this is a bad episode. However, that would have to predicate that it does something really horrendously bad. The thing is, we've pretty much come to the terms that this is not going to be a really good lawyering show because, well, granted, like, the Law and Order shows do heightened, dramatized things that don't really go on anyway within, like, a courtroom kind of scene. But even that is just borderline boring here. It's not done completely and utterly horrendously bad. It's just this episode could be cut and nothing would be lost whatsoever. There's no real character development. There's no real conflicts or dramas. I could probably go from episode 4 to episode 6, barring her getting her suit, and lose nothing of any value. You could just have been like, hey, She-Hulk got a suit. So, we see her going around town, seeing that Titania is hawking products and being pretty much just a snake oil salesperson, influencer asshole. And they don't even really do anything with that. Like, they don't say it's good or it's bad. It's just there. It's like, hey, this is things that are going on. Here's this shit. Like, Jen comments that this shit is bug kiss and bullshit, but that's it. You're not really doing much if you're just commenting on something, which I think is kind of ironic because I'm commenting on this episode. So yes, I get the irony in that kind of statement of trying to comment on stuff while also commenting on stuff. It's just they don't really have anything to say on it other than, like, the conflict is, oh, you should have trademarked She-Hulk. It's like everybody was calling her She-Hulk and she just kind of like, all right, I guess people are going to call me She-Hulk, and then you came in and you made money off of it, and that's it. And then they go into court. Her law firm pretty much has this one chick kind of help her out. Mallory Book. And they make her kind of like a tough, no-nonsense kind of person, but that's about it. And she gives Jen a pep talk towards the end of the episode for it. And we kind of try and see Nikki and Pug? Yeah. Go off. Like, the impetus for this was fucking kind of insane. I understand trying to give kind of character and digging into character development, which I like. It's just there's nothing really there except they just make them like cardboard cutouts that just spout lines. Like, he wanted to go and get Tony Stark shoes, and that wanted her to, like, help him, like, get another pair as well. One to wear, one to keep. And I'm like, okay, I get that. He's a shoe dude. And then, of course, it just gets into him being like, yo, I got a drip contact. I'm like, sweet Jesus, have we not learned that sometimes when there's a new word or something in a lexicon, by the time you're going to be able to have it in a show or in a script and have it done, it's most likely going to be dead by that point. And I'm just like, all right, because I see, like, all these fucking Sprite commercials talking about drip and everything, and I'm like, you reach the oversaturation point where you're like, hey, fellow kids. It's just somehow getting... Now, granted, I understand that language and stuff shifts hell of a lot faster than it used to when even I was, like, a kid and doing shit. internet has like accelerated to that to a fucking hellish degree, to the point where you could sometimes have a word that's like fucking popular for like a month, and by the time somebody's like, I can fellow kids this thing, it's like a year past when it was dead, gone, buried, resurrected, and then fucking beat down to death again. So people were like tired of it when it died the first time. They're gonna get tired of it when it comes back. So they go off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call him the Favor. He evidently knows people that do stuff for like superheroes." And they at first go to this dude, like, they're trying to get her a She-Hulk, a superhero wardrobe suit kind of thing. And we get this awkwardness of them trying to, like, hey, is this an actual place that does this stuff? And he's like, no, it's a tea place. And she then says, we're not cops in Chinese. And he's like, why the fuck did you say that? And they're like, we're not cops. It's like, I understand it, but it's like the awkwardness of it. Now, granted, if you were going for that awkwardness, cool. All right. You fucking nailed it. But it's just like, no. And then we see that he's just got bootleg stuff, and the only way to get to his contact is to buy his bootleg stuff. And the pug dude is like having a blast with like the fake Cap shield and the fake Mjolnir. So they go to the dude. They pretty much lie that She-Hulk's in the Avengers, and they set her up with a thing. She goes in. And she's like, I'm not in the Avengers. And then, of course, like, transforms to kind of show her power comes off. He's like, all right, fine. I'll do something for you. And then they come back towards the end of the episode. And he's like, here, try this stuff on. And then we get this whole kind of thing. It's like, you can't leave this shit out in the open. And it's the Daredevil yellow mask helmet. And that was pretty much it. Like, a tease for Daredevil coming in. We already got that in the trailers. And you need to learn to do your teases more effectively. Marvel used to have this kind of stuff down, but now it's just like, if all I can say from an episode is that the tease for Daredevil is there, and I've already had more effective teases in the trailers you've done, something's gone hoo-ha. Now, granted, I point these out, so that way it's like, okay, this isn't really working for me, and hopefully they can do better kind of ways to do this. If this episode works for you, cool. So, we pretty much see that Titania goes to court, says that, like, she didn't do any trademark for it now that it's super successful, we're going to do this kind of shit. And they're like, okay, bringing up that she's pretty much utilized this, and utilizing the interview where she's like, hey, I wasn't into this, but now I'm pretty much stuck with it. And then, of course, bringing up her match kind of stuff, where they bring in the dates that she went on. Mind you, the specimen dude for some reason is a client of their law firm, just to make it awkward and cringy, I guess. And then we just see them being pretty much dill holes, and that the super hot doctor dude was just into She-Hulk and not into Jen, and that the book lady is like, hey, you deserve somebody that better than that. And then they kind of have a drink and complain about people like, she's a superhero, and that's still not enough for people. And it's like, alright. And then it like links back up and finishes it off, and I'm like, wow, this episode really says nothing. It really does nothing to get me invested in the courtroom scenes, because we don't really learn that much about legal procedures or see deft maneuverings of legal proceedings at all. It's almost like they're like, oh yeah, She-Hulk's a lawyer, we should just do lawyering stuff. It's like, if you don't understand or are familiar with that stuff, of course you're not going to be able to make it interesting. Like, I'm not that much into sports. I mean, I've got a basic level understanding of each and every kind of thing, but I wouldn't be the one that you tap to do a writer to create an effective sports movie, because I don't know how to build the tension and how to create the conflicts between what kind of goes on for certain things within that kind of, like, realm. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is, good people who know sports and know movies and know writing can make that together, and you're like, holy fucking shit, that was pretty cool. Even if you aren't that knowledgeable of those kind of things, you can make that worth it. This was just like, wow, okay. And it's just like, there's 9 episodes, and we're in episode 5. It's like, time for She-Hulk to get her costume, or at least alluded to that we get that here. You know what I mean? Granted, they have had a worse kind of offering of pretty much waiting until the end of the show to usually have that shit put out, but yeah, that's even usually kind of worse. It's like, alright, cool. Because that's usually 6. This is 9, and it's like, wow, okay, I understand you're going half hours here, but I could literally cut this one out and be like, alright. Like, if somebody tried to, like, take the Men in Black kind of thing and mind wipe me from this episode, they would find a failure rate because I've already fucking done it myself to a degree. Because I'm like, alright, that happened, and then I moved on. It's like, you ask me in a couple days or a couple weeks. I mean, granted, since I'm doing it because this is my channel, I review things, I watch things, I do things. I'd mainly be able to hit on you with the first episode and the Wong episode of being of any true, real consequence, and to skip this one because they don't even use Titania well. It's like. The conflict isn't really there other than just like, oh yeah, I'm using the She-Hulk name. And it's like, alright. Cool. What else you got? Like, she's not even pissed off that she, like, stopped her from going on a rampage. She's like, oh no. Like, that's completely fucking really forgotten. I'm like, alright. Cool. Whatever. Like, I couldn't even, like, it doesn't even do anything horribly bad. It's just a void there of, like, wow. Like, even when I've watched a bad episode of something or a bad movie about something, I at least walk away with why I disliked it and what I kind of had a feeling of from it. Like, I could also still get the whole kind of, oh yeah, I wasted my time watching this thing. Velocipaster. Fuck. This, it's just like, I got nothing from it. There's really nothing here, and it's a complete waste of time. At least for me. If you liked it and you enjoyed it and you found it awesome for you, that's cool. Power to you, and I'm not trying to take that from you. That's awesome. I just think this was a nothing of an episode. Which is a very rare thing to say. Like, usually you're like, I either enjoyed something of it, I didn't enjoy something of it, and it's like, you can usually kind of find a balance kind of there in certain kind of respects, and then even be like, I really liked it, I really hated it. Here, it's just like, that was a thing. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.